So we
That's
can't
good.
do that.
And then another boundary we see, let's go to this is Matthew 12, verse 38. And it says, and then some of the scribes and Pharisees answered him, saying, Teacher, we wish to see a sign from you. Now, take it, this is after Jesus has already been in ministry, giving signs, healing the sick.
Yeah.
But they're asking, hey, we'd like to see a sign from you. But Jesus answers, an evil and adulterous generation seeks for a sign, but no sign will be given to it except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For just as Jonah was 3 days and nights in the belly of the great fish, so will the Son of Man be there. So here they're asking Jesus for a sign. Hey, do this to prove that you're God. And he says, sum it up, no.
Yeah.
So it's okay at times to not do the bidding of somebody else.
Yeah.
Our answer does not always have to be yes, correct?
No, I agree. I think no period is the most underrated sentence in the English language. I think no period. I think it's okay to say that. It's loving to say that. And I think people walk around again going back to the expectation that we want things done our way immediately. When we hear no period, we're like, oh, well, how dare they? No, they're just setting up a healthy boundary in their life, whether it's overextending themselves in any different area. I think it's okay to use that sentence. It's
Well, I think you have to ask yourself too, like your motives and your intentions, because for one, why do we set boundaries? You know, why do we even have boundaries set? And and if you go back, like God created boundaries when he created the heavens and the earth, and he created the sun and then the waters and, the stars in the sky, the day and the night. So why do we set boundaries?
Oh, think about it, how he set in the garden.
Yeah.
The first boundary he set to man was to don't do this.
Yeah.
Look where we're
And
at.
then when they made a mistake, he set 2 cherubs to keep them away from where they messed up.
Yeah.
You think
So
about it.
God's a God of boundaries.
Yeah.
He is.
Absolutely.
And so when you think about that, and this is what, when I was on my way over here, I was praying, asking God, like, what does it look like, setting boundaries and why? And if you go back to Proverbs, it says, guard your heart above all else, for everything you do flows from there. So if you, because we have, like you said in the garden, that was what happened with the boundaries. They crossed that line, and what happened was the fall of man.
Yeah.
So we were all born into sin, and we must be born again. So we were born into this self-centered, selfishness, sinful ways. And so when we come to Christ and we give our life to him and we're born again, and, we start to walk out that life, like, of course, we've got to set those boundaries in our heart. Well, why does Scripture say guard your heart above all else, for everything you do flows from it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, one, I was thinking about this. Liam, that second one, the wild child.
Your child. Let's
My
clarify
child.
that.
My
Yeah.
child. I'm going to tell you,
Or y'all's
my
child.
little mini me.
Yeah.
There was boundaries set for him, and he had an accident a couple weeks ago, about a month ago now, and in that, his arm, he fractured his elbow. Okay, so there was a boundary set where he couldn't move his elbow. They put him in a cast, so he could not move it for 2 weeks, and then they put him in a sling. So if you think about that, like when you set the boundaries in your heart, you have to set those, like, where you have to protect what comes in through the eye gates, the ear gates, and you have to protect that, because for one, it needs to heal.
Yeah.
Everything in here, needs to heal. And that's why boundaries are set, is because something at some time was broken.
Yeah.
And it was started from the fall of man. And so I think about Liam and his cast, and he had that boundary. I mean, he couldn't move his arm. You should have seen bro trying to eat cereal. He was like it was funny. I got a video of it. I had to send it. It's funny. But that boundary was set so that it could heal.
Yeah.
And so in our lives, that's what we are to do, is we are to guard our hearts and set those boundaries, so that we can heal.
Yeah.
And when we do have that healing, we have those boundaries so that we can continue to walk in the light as he is in the light.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, and we allow toxicity or people that speak negative into our lives, or old mindsets, old patterns, old behaviors start to creep in, and we don't have that boundary set, the enemy he's waiting
Yeah.
like a prowling lion.
Well,
What it says.
I know we've been on this for just a second, but I wanted to. One of the most impactful Bible studies I've read in the past 10 years is by Lisa TurkHurst, and it's called The Best Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And in there's a chapter that says sometimes the best yes is a no,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because we have to put ourselves up for what's best. Like the first standard we have to set is this a godly standard? Is this, am I
Yes.
pleasing God in this? Then the next is, am I pleasing my spouse if you're married? Am I pleasing, whatever that is? And so there oftentimes our best boundary that we can set is a no. No, I
Yeah.
can't come over to this place right now.
I think that
Yeah.
I've learned in the past few years that like the friends that I want in my life are the ones that are going to say, no, I can't do that. Because
Yeah.
for so long, you just want you want somebody around you to tell you yes, but
You
then,
yes, man.
but you can't, I don't think you can be as effective in the kingdom of God if you have people around you that give you false hope or false idea of possibilities. And so I want to be able to call Jeremiah and say, hey man, I got this idea.
Yeah.
We're going to do this and this. And he's, but that's not, absolutely
Yeah.
not. We're not doing that because this is a realistic expectation
Yeah.
we're going to set.
Well, going back to when Jesus was sitting with the tax collectors and the prostitutes and all those different things, he always gave them a healthy truth and love. Like it was you are drowning in your sin. I love you so much. Let me pull this out. There was like always a great combination of truth with the gospel, and which is the most loving thing that we can do. He never worried about people pleasing, which is one of those big boundaries that I think culturally destroys people. We don't want yes men, because it does hurt your feelings when you have an idea like, hey, let's film here, and you're like, psh, pew, especially if you're creative like Blake. But we do have those people, but they love us so much. Like we have to have the people that surround us with hard truths. And it may take a minute for you. Okay, well, I'm gonna let you go because I got to sit with this.
Yeah.
Let me get out. Let me get in my feelings for a second.
That's what
but
that mute button's for. I put that mute button on for a minute and
Exactly.
sit there.
No, I
But,
think you need to be self-aware too, that like what you can do and what you can't do, because sometimes we overextend ourselves to people. And like, I know for me, actually,
What just happened?
Jeremiah threw his hand up. I didn't know if he was praising or. Oh, okay. I didn't know if you were telling me to stop.
Stop it. Do
I
not
know.
talk about that.
I
This is why
know.
you need a microphone. This would be like, amen, sister Angie.
Yeah. I'm sorry. No, I didn't know if we.
I was like, wait,
something
hold,
happens.
please. Yeah,
I
I,
know,
did too. I
too.
thought that too. Sorry, keep going.
Okay. Okay, so no, I think sometimes we overextend ourselves. And one of the things that I know that I have learned recently is a way that I deal with things in my life, with whether it be grief or whatever it is I overcompensate in areas where I want people to feel the love that I didn't feel at one time, or I try to give so much of myself to so many people and make myself so available that I wear myself out.
Yeah.
But that's how I cope with it. And so I didn't know how to just sit in the silence of it.
Yeah.
And so that was something that I've learned over the last couple of weeks. And I've had to tell people like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I cannot do this. And it's hard in a way, but like, I'll be honest with you, it's freeing, because in that moment, like I could be like barely above water, you know, like,
And you've been in situations where you felt the weight of the overly doing it, doing too much. And so
Way too
honestly,
much.
when you're able to say no, you sort of relieve yourself of like, okay, God, I sought you on that.
Yeah.
So you set my path here. So that's good.
yeah, like I have to make myself aware of that, of like, hey, can you really do this? Can you follow through? Like Jess was
Yeah.
saying, like,
Yeah.
and sometimes like I can't, like I shouldn't commit myself to something knowing that I can't follow through with it.
Yeah.
Or is it going to take my peace as I'm doing it because I'm stressed slap out?
Well, I was going to say and that's how we actually disappoint people sometimes, because we haven't set a healthy boundary, and then we can't meet an expectation that we've
Yes.
told them that we can meet. You know, we can't meet the deadlines. I did a jump ahead of us. I'm sorry. But that's exactly right.
Yeah.
We're not meeting these expectations. We're not, we're letting them down. We're dropping the ball. We're not, setting appointments because we're forgetting, because we're hitting all these different things, which is a very, very big thing in my life, where I'm like, oh gosh, I forgot this, and then, people put you up on this pedestal, and then you can't meet the expectation, and then there you go. You know.
Yeah.
Have you
And
ever done
then-
this before? Have you ever like been so worried about telling somebody no, and then like you built this case up in your head, and you're
Yeah.
like, man, they're gonna hate me. They're gonna be so mad at me. I can't believe. And then you call and you're like, look, I can't get to that on Monday. And they're like, oh, no problem. I got somebody else
Yeah.
to take care of that.
Yeah.
And you're like,
You're like, bruh.
Man, I just wasted all
I know.
weekend
Or
worrying
they come
myself
back
to death.
with, "Whew, I'm glad you called because I couldn't
I
do it
forgot
either."
we were doing that on
I know.
Monday.